Minecraft Legacy Console Edition is a very unique version of Minecraft to speedrun. Sadly, it is not as popular as Java and Bedrock, but it still holds a charm to being one of the most broken versions of Minecraft. I and other runners have done countless runs to see how we can bring some of the categories it has to offer. Some glitches and tricks used in these runs are pretty confusing to understand, and if any new runners come in, they won't know exactly how to do these tricks and know a thing on how they work. Recently, I've offered to make a new guide to replace the current and outdated one by Fedecrash 02. No offense to you. This guide will have more tricks and some that were mentioned in his guide, but with more information, mainly on how it works. I will explain how a particular trick works and what you can use for it. So anyways, buckle up, grab your Elytras, and play RSG non-stop as it will be diving down to my Minecraft Legacy Console Edition speedrunning guide. For those who don't know, or have been living under a rock this whole time, Legacy Console Edition is the console version of Minecraft that was released on various consoles. For the sake of this guide, I'll be abbreviating it to LCE. This is a list of every console that LCE was released on. Nowadays, they all been discontinued, with PlayStation 4 Edition being the final one to jump into the LCE grave. All the console editions are technically the same thing, with the exception of load times for some. There is no superior version since LCE isn't all that competitive anyway, and no one's gonna buy that one faster console. Plus, there are categories that a specific console edition is generally better to play on in that set category, mainly Random C on PS4. So feel free to run whatever console edition you want. What categories are there for LCE? Like Java and Bedrock, it has the four main categories for you to choose from. For those who don't know what they are, they include set seed or SS. You manually put in a seed so that it's the same every time and you follow the same route. It allows the use of glitches such as item duplication glitches. Old-gen consoles have no problem in this category, but PS4 has very inconsistent world generation, so it's generally not the best to run on. Set C glitchless or SSG. This is the same as set C, but it bans all uses of glitches, meaning if you use a glitch in your run, it will be rejected. Pretty much no one really runs this category, and it's not the most popular to play, so it's basically dead. But if you want to run it, feel free to. Random Seed RS. This category has you create a world without putting in a seed, so that it's random every time you play. This also allows glitches to be used, and for LCE, it's kind of fun to play on. PS4 is relatively the best version to run on, since the new villagers mean bigger villages and you can obtain items much more easily. Random Seed Glitchless RSG. This is Random Seed without the use of glitches. In other words, it's basically normal Minecraft. For LCE, it is not the best on old-gen consoles due to the villagers taking longer to trade, and that villagers can be a pain to find since they're so spread out. Sometimes you won't even find the right villager in a village. PS4 is the best and recommended version to play on. There is a strat that is similar to Java's tower strat and applies to old-gen and PS4, so you can grind out Endermen. But since this setup is still new, I will not be explaining it nor mentioning it else in the guide. Pretty much everyone knows that Java is timed with in-game time or IGT, meaning that loads and quitting the game pauses the timer. Unlike Java, runs for LCE are timed with real time, also known as RTA or real-time attack. Timing now starts in the player's first input. It used to start on world generation. For co-op runs, the second player has to join, meaning that the first player cannot move until they join. It's depending on how many players you're playing with. You can play with 4, 6, or 8 if you're doing online. The last player has to join before the time starts. Timing ends varies on what category you're playing on. For example, set C ends on entering the exit portal and initiating the credits. Now that's out of the way, we can finally get into the strats. Some important things to note. Due to PS4 receiving the Village and Pillage update, or 1.14, it has changed the trading system entirely. So, to fix this problem, runs have been split into two categories: Standard Trading System and New Trading System, also known as STS and NTS. STS is for old gen and NTS is for PS4. This thing is also applied to Tutorial World. Elytra Updates Tutorial World was eventually updated to the Aquatic Update Tutorial World, so any runs that were in the Elytra Update Tutorial World were moved to a new category to split the runs apart. Only way to access this tutorial world is to not update your version of Minecraft to Aquatic, own the discontinued Xbox One and Nintendo Switch editions, which it cannot be bought anymore, not Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, or by modding. To also note, emulator runs have been approved and are now allowed in the leaderboards. Only one has been allowed into the main leaderboards, which is RPCS3. It's a PS3 emulator. You can find a link to a tutorial on how to install it in the description made by Fedecrash. That is pretty much everything I need to point out, so now we can get into the strats. These are some strats that you can use. Most of these are used in full game categories such as set seed and random seed. So I'm gonna be going through every single one. This glitch is a heavily used one, especially for set seed and random seed, due to how easy it is to do and how many items you can get in a matter of time. Pick block duping is a duplication glitch that uses the pick block control. There are a range of things you can do this on, so I'll give a few examples. You can do this on gold, iron, diamonds, emeralds, redstone, coal, lapis lazuli, hay, wood, and many more. Since this uses the pick block control, make sure you go to controls and set a button for it. It is highly recommended you put it down on D-pad, as it will make it much more efficient and easier to do it. There are 3 ways to use pick block duping that is used for runs, so I'll be going through them right now. This is item duping, one of the forms of pick block duping heavily used for full game runs. For this, we'll be using iron ingots to demonstrate. You'll want 2 of them, an item frame and a crafting table. Place 1 ingot in the item frame and put the other in your inventory. Make sure it's in your inventory and not in your hotbar, otherwise it won't work. After that, you're ready to do the dupe, and here's where it gets a bit tricky. You are going to cycle left or right on the hotbar and press down on the D-pad at the same time. If done correctly, you should have 2 iron ingots. Congratulations, you have successfully duped the iron, but you're not done yet. You see, the iron ingot that was duped is a phantom item, meaning it cannot be dropped and will disappear if you open another interface or open your inventory and then leave afterwards. Open your crafting interface, not the crafting table interface, or it will disappear, and craft the ingots into nuggets. The phantom ingot is now a normal nugget, so it will not disappear, and you can just craft those nuggets back to ingots. You should have 2 iron ingots in your hotbar. If so, congratulations, you have successfully pulled it off. Now you can repeat this process as many times as you like, and each time you dupe, it multiplies by 2. If you get 8 ingots, you'll have 16. It keeps going on and on until you have a whole stack, which you can actually get under a minute. Keep note that if you fail to dupe the item, just put it back in your inventory and try again. It may take a few attempts to get it down, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. This is fairly similar to item duping, but it allows you to dupe Eyes of Ender to completely bypass all that painful Enderman and blaze grinding. You'll need 2 ender pearls, 2 blaze powder, and 2 item frames. Like with the iron ingots, you place 1 pearl in the item frame and 1 powder in the other frame. Then just put them in your inventory. But here's what's different about eye duping. You do the trick twice, one for the ender pearl and the other for the blaze powder. Also to mention that if you mess up, you have to start over and try again. Once successfully duped, try to drop the pearl and powder. Remember that phantom items cannot be dropped, so if it doesn't drop, it instead. Also, make sure to keep a distance from it so you won't accidentally pick up when you're going to craft the eyes. Once you drop the normal items, craft the phantom items into eyes, and there you go. Just grab the ones you dropped and repeat it until you have enough of them for the portal. It also will take some time to get used to, but eventually you'll get it much more consistently. This is also like eye duping, but it's with wood, so it's going to be short and sweet. Get 2 or more blocks of wood, then drop the normal ones till you have the phantom ones in your HUD bar, craft them into wood planks, and grab the wood blocks you dropped. When duping the other types of wood, make sure you keep a distance so you won't accidentally pick it up. This is mainly used for glitch full game runs to save time chopping down trees. Pretty much every Minecraft speedrunner knows what this is, but if you don't know, let me explain it. Dragon Skip is a glitch that allows you to skip the entire Ender Dragon fight using a single end crystal. To do it, you need an end crystal. To craft one, you need 7 glass, a gas tier, and an Eye of Ender. It's best to practice so before you enter the end, save the game. Now, just like Java, enter the end and immediately place it. If done correctly, you should see the exit portal activated, but sadly the dragon will remain, so you may not know whether you got it or not. How it works is just like Java, since LCE's end crystals are very similar to Java's. End crystals determine when a fight is going on, so if you place one down, it detects to see if a fight is going on. If the dragon is loaded in, the fight will go on as normal. But if the dragon is not fully loaded in, you place the crystal down, it detects nothing and it tells the game that there is no dragon and that the fight is over to activate the exit portal. Old generation consoles have slower loading times, so that allows more time to place the crystal, which I calculate to be around 1.5 seconds, but it can be a little bit longer, just depends on your world. It also can be performed on Xbox One, Switch, and PS4. Just to let you know, since PS4 has the fastest loading times from all the other console editions, it makes Dragon Skip much harder to do. So, my personal tip to getting it is have a higher sensitivity, like I would recommend around 160, and just start spamming to place it. Sadly, there is no consistent way to get it all the time, so you either get good at it or just struggle. Now this glitch is a brand new one. It was just recently discovered, so not enough information is available for it, but I'm going to throw it in since it is a major one. I'll use what I currently know about it. Loot table duping is a duplication glitch that allows you to obtain infinite amounts of items from naturally generated chests. It involves you using a piston and a lever to push the chest that will quote-unquote break in the process, and whatever items were generated with the chest will drop. Old Gen and PS4 can perform this trick, but PS4 is completely different. Let me explain. Remember when I mentioned about Village and Pillage being introduced? For some reason, the blacksmith chests are randomized, and no other naturally generated chest in the PS4 edition is randomized. Obviously, the loot table remains the same. How it works is a bit tricky to understand, but I'll try to explain it to my best. Let's say there are 5 iron ingots, 2 saplings, and 7 obsidian in a blacksmith chest in a world you just created. When you make a new world and use the same seed for that exact same world, the chest will contain whole new loot instead of the loot you previously found. So, how does this trick exploit this? When a piston pushes the chest, it is moved, but it is treated as it was broken by hand, thus dropping whatever was inside of it. Since these chests' loot is randomized on PS4, it generates new loot every time the chest is being pushed. So, the loot can change to this, and then it changes to this when the chest is broken. Keep note, if you do anything with the chest, you open it, you put a hopper to put items in it, it will not work. It will not drop nothing, and you basically just screwed up everything. Keep note, and remember this. So, now that's all the way we can get into performing it. This is the sticky piston method, which uses a sticky piston. Find the chest and place the piston facing forward the chest like this. Use a lever, since you can just spam it, and it should constantly drop items like this. Like I said, if it doesn't drop anything, you may have opened the chest or have somehow interfered with it. It has to be left unopened and cannot be tampered with, otherwise it won't work. Like many duplication glitches, it can go on forever and can be used for farms. But that's not important for this, but I'm just going to mention it anyways. Okay, so this strange thing only appears on old gen and not new gen. Well, obviously because old gen is less powerful than new gen. All you gotta do, just pause the game, and then there's this small bit of lag, and then the game pauses. Now this lag is not entirely new. It has been in the game since Xbox 360 back in 2012. But what is new about it is that what it does in the latest versions of LCE, it allows you to cancel almost any form of damage, which brings me to my next strat I will mention, damage canceling. This trick uses pause lag to cancel damage you normally would take. But keep note that there are a few ways to prevent you from taking damage, and that this is a single player only trick. One of these ways is canceling fall damage. It is very easy to do and doesn't need a lot of practice. But if you want to be like me and do it quickly, you want to practice that. Anyway, to do it, just jump off a cliff, and right as you're about to land, pause the game and wait until you hear the sound when you land from a high place. It should sound like this. If done correctly, you should unpause and take no damage. If you fail it, then you unpaused way too quickly or probably paused too late. The reason why it works is currently unknown, and what makes it more of a mystery to why it happens. In older versions of LCE, this trick does not work. I really don't know why it happens, but I'm guessing when you land while the game is paused, everything is frozen, and in this state, you already landed and you're supposed to take damage. But since the game is frozen and nothing around moves, you don't take it and you're completely fine. But that's my guess on how it works. Damage cancelling also applies for end crystals and bed explosions, but we'll focus on end crystals. It is also easy to do, but it can be pretty tricky. Go up to an end crystal, and what you're going to do is you're going to hit it and pause the game at the same time. It has to be in the same time, otherwise you'll just get killed by the explosion. Like fall damage, it also applies to the crystal explosion, so as long as it's single player, you should get this fine. Some practice is needed since you're pressing two buttons at the same time, but like I said, eventually you'll get it down. Save exploit is another full game strat. It's only used for the random C categories, not for set C because it's slower. Nothing is really that interesting about this strat, except that it allows you to sorta manipulate mob loot drop RNG until you get what you need. Just find a mob, save your game, and kill it. If you don't get the drop, you exit without saving the game and load your world to try again. For PS4, you have to either disable auto-saving in-game or before you make the world. To demonstrate, we'll be using Enderman. So walk up to an Enderman, save the game, kill the Enderman. If it doesn't drop a pearl, you leave the game without saving, load back in, and kill it to try again. Eventually, it will drop the pearl, and if you find two Endermen, you want to do the same thing too. You don't want to do the same thing with that. This is an exploit that only works on the PS4 edition since it uses the new trading system. Trading exploit is an exploit that allows you to refresh the trades of villagers. It's very easy to do. Trade with a villager, lock a trade, meaning you can temporarily no longer trade for that item, break their job site block and place it down. Green particles will appear, and all trades that are refreshed, including locked ones. The exploit abuses how trades are resupplied. When a villager's trades become locked, they restock it once they return to their job site block, which normally happens after a full day cycle. But if you lock the trade, break the block and place it again, the villager will be forced to resupply its trades since it technically returns to its job site. Like always, you can do this over and over again. This trick allows you to stall the Ender Dragon in the air to deal more damage before it can spit out Dragon's Breath. This is an LCE only trick since the AI of the dragon behaves much differently than any other version. To do this, when the dragon swoops down, start hitting it. It may circle around like this, so do not miss a single hit. it will start circling around while you're hitting it. If you miss one, it's gonna realign itself to the center. See how the dragon does this before aligning itself? That's the key to getting the stall to work. It doesn't do this, you're unable to do the stall. This happens pretty randomly and won't work 100% of the time. But don't worry, it does this most of the time and when you fight the dragon, and so you can get this almost every time. Also involving the dragon fight, you can actually take no crystal damage with this strat. It is pretty useful for cage crystals since it is blocked and you don't want to make a little bridge to destroy it, wasting time. Very easy to do. Go to the exact corner of the pillar, obsidian pillar, which is here. Place a block right here. This is important. Break part of the cage and hit the crystal. You should take no damage from the explosion. The reason for how it works is surprisingly simple. You see, when bedrock or obsidian is under the crystal and it explodes, it only destroys the blocks above or next to the crystal, and the bottom blocks will not be affected, including players who are 2 blocks under the crystal. Take this build for example. The diamond blocks are the blocks that won't be affected by the explosion, and the gold blocks will be destroyed. As you can see here, the gold blocks are destroyed, but the diamond blocks aren't. If a mob is 2 blocks under the crystal, like this villager here, he won't take any damage from the explosion. When they break the bedrock, however, it will be like any other explosion and destroy any surrounding blocks around it, and will kill anything near. This same mechanism works on all versions of Minecraft and can be abused the same way as I demonstrated. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about LCE speedrunning. There are still discoveries being made, even for the least popular version of Minecraft to speedrun. I have a good feeling that LCE will have more runners getting to the game than we have right now. And I would like to thank the LCE community for discovering all these tricks. It really makes LCE runs stand out and made them a little bit interesting to watch. All links relating to LCE speedrunning are in the description, such as the Discord server and the leaderboards on speedrun.com. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my LCE speedrunning guide. This took a long time to make, mostly because I had to write a decent script explaining everything, plus loot table duping was discovered. I also hope you found this helpful. If there's any questions regarding LCE speedrunning, make sure you leave a comment and I'll try to reply. Any other questions may be answered in the Discord server, which is in the description. Also, I am very sorry if I stuttered a lot in this guide, because I am not that good at speaking, plus explaining things. So anyways, thanks for watching, and tune in for more of my garbage content.